In today's business world, it feels like everything is just moving incredibly fast.
It really does. Constant change.
Yeah, and having that ability to uh, really see what's happening with your data, like right now,
Yep.
and keeping operations running smoothly.
hmm
Well, it's not just a nice to have anymore, is it?
No, absolutely not. It's pretty much essential.
And that's kind of where SAP S/4HANA fits in, right? I hear it described not just as software, but as this intelligent and sustainable digital core. Sounds impressive.
It is, and that's the term SAP uses. And look, for this deep dive, our mission really is to give you a helpful, engaging introduction to what SAP S/4HANA actually is. Regardless of your technical background.
Okay.
We want to unpack it, what it is, why it matters so much now, and kind of how it achieves its goals. We're drawing from a pretty comprehensive overview of the whole topic.
Great. So we'll be digging into the foundations, things like the SAP H database, maybe that Fiori user interface I keep hearing about.
Exactly. We'll touch on those key architectural bits. So yeah, let's get started on what makes an enterprise, well, truly intelligent in this context.
Okay, so this intelligent and sustainable enterprise, what's the bedrock here?
Well, at its core, it really comes down to two main things that S/4HANA enables: operational automation and real-time steering.
Real-time steering,
Exactly.
like driving the business based on live data.
Precisely. And automation, taking over the routine stuff, these aren't just buzzwords. They represent a fundamental shift in how businesses can operate.
Right. So letting the system handle the repetitive tasks, freeing people up for more, I guess, strategic thinking.
Exactly. And giving managers that live dashboard view of what's happening right this second and the engine behind this, that's where intelligent technologies come in.
Ah, okay. And business AI is part of that toolbox.
Yes, you can think of business AI as a specific set of tools within that broader intelligent technologies category. It uses AI specifically to, optimize business processes, maybe surface insights you wouldn't normally see, potentially even predict future outcomes.
Can you give an example? Like, what would that look like?
Sure. Imagine this system automatically flagging a potential disruption in your supply chain, maybe based on analyzing various data points, and then even suggesting possible solutions. That level of proactive intelligence.
Okay, that's powerful. It sounds like it's all designed to work together seamlessly. Which brings us to this concept of the integrated intelligent enterprise. What does that actually mean in practice?
Yeah, it's not just a bunch of separate tools bolted together. It's designed more like a cohesive system. The goal is end-to-end processes that flow smoothly across different departments: finance, sales, manufacturing, you name it.
Breaking down those silos we always hear about.
That's the idea, getting rid of the information islands so data and actions can flow freely.
Makes sense.
And the SAP Business Technology Platform, or BTP, is sort of the glue and the toolkit that helps make this integration happen. It lets you connect systems, build extensions, innovate on top of S/4HANA. So integration really is fundamental here.
Got it. Now, SAP isn't just one single product, is it? I understand there are different flavors, different ways to set it up.
That's right. SAP knows different companies have different needs, different IT setups, different strategies. So they offer a few main options. There's SAP S/4HANA, the classic on-premise version where you run it on your own servers in your data center. Gives you maximum control.
The traditional way,
Yeah,
basically.
yeah. Then you've got the cloud. There's SAP S/4HANA Cloud Private Edition. This is essentially the same core software as on-premise, but it's hosted in a dedicated private cloud environment, often managed through something like RISE with SAP.
Okay, so hosted for you, but still your dedicated system.
Correct. And then there's SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition. This is a true multi-tenant SaaS software as a service offering. SAP handles everything, the infrastructure, the software updates, all of it.
So the big differences boil down to location, your place or theirs, and who manages the nuts and bolts.
Pretty much. And that impacts the commercial model too. The cloud versions, particularly public, lean towards subscription pricing. Release cycles are also different. On-premise and private cloud get a major release every 2 years, supported for 7 years, plus smaller feature packs.
Okay.
Public cloud gets updates much faster, twice a year actually, with names like 2408 for August 2024.
Right. Year and month.
Exactly. So figuring out which deployment model, on-premise, private cloud, public cloud, is the right fit is a really key decision when adopting S/4HANA. It's often about balancing control and flexibility versus standardization and agility.
That makes sense. Okay, we've got the landscape. Let's dive under the hood now. The SAP HEO platform, this in-memory database. What's the big deal? Why is it so central to S/4HANA?
It is the big deal. SAP Asia is the technological foundation. And yeah, the in-memory database is its heart. What sets it apart is, well, it keeps the primary data in the main system memory, RAM, instead of relying mostly on slower disk storage like traditional databases.
And that translates directly to speed, I assume.
Massive speed increases, potentially hundreds of thousands of times faster access compared to spinning disks. It's the speed that lets S/4HANA do something pretty radical, handle both everyday transactions, OLTP, like posting an invoice, and complex analytics, OLAP, like running a sales report on the same live data set.
So no more waiting for data to be moved to a separate reporting system overnight.
Exactly. That delay, that latency, it just disappears. You get real-time insights directly from your operational data. That convergence of OLTP and OLAP is maybe the most fundamental innovation of S/4HANA.
Wow. Okay, so it's not just having more RAM. How does it achieve that speed beyond just being in memory?
Good question. It's a combination of things. One key aspect is columnar storage. Most traditional databases store data row by row, like a spreadsheet. Adano primarily stores it column by column.
How does that help?
Think about running a report that only needs, say, customer names and total sales. With columnar storage, the database only needs to read those two columns. It doesn't have to sift through all the other columns in each row, address, phone number, whatever. It's much more efficient for analytics.
I see. Makes sense for reading data. What about writing data, like adding a new customer? That touches multiple columns.
Right, that's the trade-off. Columnar can be slower for writes, but Adana has clever ways to handle that, like a delta store mechanism that optimizes inserts and updates without slowing down reads too much.
Interesting. And I've also heard Aiden's really good at data compression. Does that play a role in speed too?
Absolutely. Because you have similar data types grouped together in columns, Adana can compress data extremely effectively using techniques like dictionary encoding. Less data means less space needed in memory, which is good in itself. But it also means less data needs to be moved from memory to the processor when you run a query. So smaller data footprint equals faster queries.
Okay, faster access, smaller footprint. Sounds good. What about handling truly enormous amounts of data, like petabytes?
That's where a couple more concepts come in. First, massively parallel processing, or MPP. Modern CPUs have multiple cores, right? Like little processors within the main processor.
Yeah, my laptop has several.
HANA is designed from the ground up to exploit that. It breaks down complex queries and distributes the work across all available cores simultaneously. Think of it like having a whole team tackle a big job instead of just one person. It speeds things up dramatically.
Okay, using all the cores, what if the data is just too big for one single machine, even a powerful one?
Then you use partitioning. HANA can split very large tables horizontally, like chopping a huge phone book into volumes AF, GM, etc., and potentially distribute these partitions across multiple physical servers that work together as one logical database. There's actually a technical limit, around 2 billion rows, for non-partitioned tables, so partitioning becomes essential for really big data scenarios.
So it can scale up within one machine using cores and scale out across multiple machines using partitioning. Very flexible. What about the hardware itself? Does it need special machines?
Well, there are certified hardware vendors, definitely. And while HANA supports virtualization running multiple isolated HANA databases on shared hardware, which helps abstract the hardware and can lower cost performance, is still paramount.
Right.
Historically, SAP offered appliances, tightly integrated hardware and software packages. Now, the approach is more flexible with tailored data center integration, or TDI, giving customers more choice in certified components, and of course in the cloud.
Like with Rise and Grow.
Exactly. With Rise with SAP or Grow with SAP, SAP and their hyperscaler partners handle the infrastructure aspect for you.
Okay, speed, scalability, crucial stuff.
Yeah.
But what about keeping the system running? Reliability, protecting the data if something goes wrong.
Absolutely critical. Recoverability, high availability HA, and disaster recovery DR are built-in strengths of HANA. For basic protection, like surviving a power flicker, HA uses persistence. It regularly saves snapshots of the in-memory data to persistent storage, usually SSDs or disks called save points.
Okay.
And it logs every single transaction between save points. So if the power goes out, it can recover to the last consistent state using those save points and logs.
Standard database practice, basically.
That could be bigger.
Hardware failure.
Right. For high availability within a single data center, you have several options. Standard backup and recovery is fundamental, but restoring takes time, impacting your recovery time objective, or RTO. Then there's SAP HANA storage replication. This mirrors your data to a separate storage system in near real time. It's faster for recovery, but often has distance limitations for synchronous zero data loss replication.
Okay.
You also have SAP HANA host auto failover. This uses standby server nodes with shared storage. If the active node fails, a standby node automatically takes over its identity and mounts the storage, resuming operations quickly.
So that handles failures within one location. What if the whole data center goes offline? Fire, flood, major outage.
That's where disaster recovery comes in, and SAP HANA system replication is the key technology. This lets you maintain a complete, continuously updated copy of your HANA database at a remote site, different building, different city, even different country.
A complete replica.
Yes, it works by transmitting the transaction logs from the primary system to the secondary system. You can do this synchronously guaranteeing zero data loss, but requiring a very fast, low-latency network, or asynchronously, which tolerates more network latency but might involve minimal data loss in a disaster.
And can you use that secondary system for anything while it's waiting?
You can. There have been improvements over time. You could initially set it up for read-only access, which is great for offloading reporting workloads. Now, with SAP HANA 2.0, there's even an active read-enabled mode where both primary and secondary systems can serve read requests, improving resource utilization.
That sounds like a very robust set of options. Managing all this must require some decent tools, though.
Definitely. SAP provides a suite of tools for operations. The main one these days is the SAP HANA Cockpit. It's a web-based tool for administration, monitoring performance, managing security, backups, the whole 9 yards.
Okay.
There's also the DBA cockpit, often used within SAP NetWeaver systems. For scripting and direct interaction, there's a command line tool, HDB SPLL. And for broader landscape management and monitoring, you'd typically use SAP Solution Manager or its cloud successor, SAP Cloud ALM. SAP Landscape Management also helps automate tasks across the environment.
Got it. And within a single HANA system, how are things organized logically? I think you mentioned containers earlier.
Right, multi-tenant database containers, or MDC. This has been the mandatory setup for HANA since version 2.0 SP02. It basically allows you to run multiple independent databases called tenant databases within a single Azure Estim installation. Each tenant is isolated with its own users, data, logs, etc.
Like virtual machines, but for databases within one agent instance.
Sort of, yeah. It's very efficient for resource utilization and administration, especially if you need to host different applications or, say, development, QA, and production tenants. One important point for S/4HANA specifically, though, while HANA MDC can technically span multiple physical servers, an S/4HANA system currently runs within a single tenant database on a single HANA node or scale-out cluster node acting as one.
Okay, that makes sense. We've talked a lot about the database itself, but the SAP NS platform implies more than just the database, right?
Absolutely. The platform includes a whole range of services built around that core database engine. Even the standard edition comes with application services like a built-in web server, XS Engine, allowing you to build and run lightweight applications directly on HANA, minimizing data movement.
Interesting.
It also includes integration and quality services for connecting to various data sources, replicating data, and ensuring data quality using virtual tables and adapters. And of course, the core database services encompass everything we've discussed: the RDBMS features, ASIC compliance, combined OLT-PLAB, compression, parallel processing, security, HADR, etc.
And I bet the Enterprise Edition adds even more advanced capabilities.
You bet. Enterprise Edition piles on things like advanced data replication tools like SAP LT Replication Server or SAP Data Integrator, streaming analytics for processing data in motion, though the specific smart data streaming component is nearing end of maintenance, sophisticated information management tools for data integration and quality transformation, smart data integration quality, and powerful predictive libraries like PL and APL for in-database machine learning.
Machine learning right inside the database.
Yeah, run algorithms directly on the data where it lives. Enterprise also adds enhanced data privacy features like dynamic data masking and anonymization, advanced search and text analysis capabilities, and processing for spatial, geographical, and graph network relationship data.
Wow, that's quite a list.
Yeah.
Any other recent additions worth noting?
Well, there's the SAP HANA native storage extension, which is a more modern way to manage data tiering, keeping hot data in memory and automatically moving colder data to less expensive disk storage, replacing the older dynamic tiering feature. There's also integration with external machine learning libraries like TensorFlow via the EML library. And of course, the continuous evolution of SAP HN Cloud, which packages many of these capabilities, adds things like a built-in data lake and offers a fully managed cloud experience. It even includes things like a vector engine, crucial for new AI applications like retrieval augmented generation.
Okay, that's a really powerful platform. With all that capability and data concentration, security must be paramount. How does S/4HANA protect this digital core?
You're absolutely right. Security is fundamental. And it's important to remember that S/4HANA security isn't just about the database. It's part of your overall IT security landscape. But the HANA platform itself provides multiple layers of defense.
Like what specifically?
Well, starting with access, there's robust authentication. HANA supports various methods, standard database users, integration with corporate directories via LDAPI, single sign-on using standards like SAML, Kerberos, JWT tokens, X.509 certificates, so you can control who gets in.
Okay, verifying identity. Then what?
Then you have user and role management. You define users within HANA, tenant-specific, and assign privileges through roles controlling what authenticated users are allowed to do.
Fine-grained control.
Very fine-grained. HANA authorization lets you grant specific privileges on database objects like tables or views, system actions like starting or stopping the database, analytical privileges, controlling access to data within views based on values, and more. For protecting the data itself, there's data storage security.
Encryption.
Yes, encryption at rest for data stored on disk, encryption in transit for data moving over the network, and encryption for backups. Plus, features like data masking, which lets you obscure sensitive data fields for certain users, like showing only the last 4 digits of a credit card number, and data anonymization techniques to help comply with privacy laws like GDPR.
And keeping track of who did what.
Exactly. Audit logging is crucial. ANA can generate detailed audit trails for security-relevant events, data access, system configuration changes, whatever you configure it to track. It provides that accountability and helps with compliance investigations. It's really a multi-layered security posture.
It certainly sounds comprehensive. So S/4HANA is clearly powerful, evolving. What's the road ahead look like? Where is SAP focusing its efforts?
The direction is definitely cloud first. SAP is putting the bulk of its innovation efforts into the cloud editions, SAP S/4HANA Cloud Public Edition and Private Edition. That's where you'll see the newest functionalities, the tightest integration with AI, and the fastest release cycles. They strongly recommend cloud for customers looking to maximize future innovation.
Makes sense. Why are companies actually making the move now? What are the typical triggers?
It varies a lot. From the business side, it could be needing specific new capabilities only available in S/4HANA, especially in the cloud versions, or hitting pain points with their current systems that S/4HANA can solve. Sometimes it's part of a larger business transformation or consolidating multiple older ERPs, or even just starting fresh with a greenfield implementation for a new line of business.
And from the IT perspective?
Often it's about driving automation, aiming for a lower total cost of ownership, TCO, simplifying a complex system landscape, needing to upgrade aging hardware anyway, or crucially future-proofing their core system as the older SAP ERP 6.0 approaches its end of mainstream maintenance in 2027. That deadline is a big driver for many.
Right, that looming deadline. So when a company decides to go for it, what are the big decisions they need to wrestle with?
Several key ones. Choosing the right product version, public cloud, private cloud, on-premise, is fundamental. Then deciding on the transition approach. Greenfield, which is a fresh start. Brownfield, converting their existing system. Or maybe a selective data transition, a hybrid approach.
That sounds complex.
It can be. Change management, getting the users ready and adopting the new system and processes is also absolutely critical for success. SAP pushes methodologies like SAP Activate to provide a framework, and tools like the AI Copilot Joule are emerging to help users. Understanding those release cycles we talked about is important for planning.
And what about those compatibility packs you mentioned earlier?
Right. Compatibility packs are important to understand. They basically provide temporary usage rights for certain functionalities from the older SAP ERP system that haven't been fully replaced or re-architected within S/4HANA yet. Think of them as a bridge. But, and this is key, most of these packs have an expiration date, generally December 31st, 2025.
Oh, so that's coming up relatively soon.
It is. There are a few specific exceptions, some functions in customer service, CS, logistics execution transportation, LETRA, and production planning for process industries, PPPI, have rights until 2030. And one consolidation tool, ECCS, can run alongside the new group reporting solution until end of 2027. But the general deadline is end of 2025, forcing companies to plan their move to the native S/4HANA solutions for those areas.
Okay, this has been incredibly informative, a real deep dive. So just to quickly wrap up the key takeaways, we're looking at SAP S/4HANA as this intelligent, sustainable digital core,
Right. Powered by that super fast SAP HANA in-memory database.
offering different deployment options, cloud, on-premise, private cloud to fit various needs.
Exactly, with comprehensive functions covering pretty much all business areas and a strong focus on security built in.
Fundamentally, it seems designed to give businesses those real-time insights, streamline how they operate, and build a technology foundation that's ready for the future.
That's the goal, empowering organizations really, regardless of their size or industry.
And, as businesses grapple with this ever more complex digital landscape, understanding a system like S/4HANA, its architecture, its capabilities, it really does feel less like a luxury and more like a necessity, doesn't it? For staying competitive, for sustainable growth. It makes you think, what aspects of having that real-time data, those integrated processes, what do you listening see as potentially the most transformative for your own work or your own business?
That's a great question to ponder, and we definitely encourage you, our listener, based on this introduction, to maybe dig deeper into the specific areas of SAP S/4HANA that caught your attention today. There's a lot more to explore, and really understanding this platform could genuinely be a game changer for your organization's future.